Welcome to the Aim for Success podcast. I'm Joni Knighty, a licensed psychotherapist and certified clinical hypnotist and trainer. I'm also the founder of Aim for Success and Joni Knighty Hypnosis. I've been practicing for over 27 years, and I'm excited about sharing my experiences and those of my guests. Be sure and check out my websites, aim-for-success.com and joniknightyhypnosis.com to learn more about my services and products. I also invite you to check out my store, aim-store.net. As a gift to you for listening to this podcast, use the code SUCCESS to receive 25% off your first self-hypnosis audio purchase. You are listening to episode 1 of the Aim for Success podcast featuring Claire Rasmus and McKenna DeBeaver. Both athletes just completed their college swimming careers representing Texas A&M at NCAA Division I championships. Listen as they discuss the importance of mental toughness in their sport and in their lives. So, hello everyone. I'm so excited today. This is my first podcast with Claire Rasmus and McKenna DeBeaver. And in a minute, we're going to talk to you about who they are. They're amazing athletes and amazing people. I have known these ladies since they were very young, and it's just been a joy to watch their progress. And also now being at the point, having them at the point where they're going to help me and other people continue not only to compete, I believe. We'll hear from them in a moment. I'm not sure what their plans are. Can't wait to find out. But they are going to give back to the sport in a very special way. There are a couple of ways, and we'll talk about that. One way is they're going to give back to other athletes, younger athletes, and they'll also be able to influence athletes on their level as well, whether they may not even know that. But anytime that you influence people, there's a possibility that people that you don't even expect will pick up something very, very important to them, and it'll cause an impact and influence. And the other way is a very special program that I'm getting closer to being finished with, that I'm working on for a while with Mayo Clinic, and that's an athlete transition program. And we know that this is very important because there isn't anything out there, and every time I mention that, everyone says, we need that. Or that, where's that been? I wish I had had that if it's a former athlete. So I'm so excited that both of these ladies and other wonderful athletes, a very special group that I'll be announcing soon, are going to be a part of that. And very soon you'll be able to see some clips of some of our Zoom meetings, just bits of our meetings with Mayo, so that you can see that this is indeed in progress, and it's going to be a very helpful product that Mayo Clinic, myself, and these wonderful athletes are doing at no cost. So we really are contributing and giving back something. So let's get started with these wonderful ladies, because you guys hear from me enough on so many podcasts. So let's get started, and you guys just go ahead and introduce yourself, if you will.
Yeah, so I'm McKenna. I am a swimmer here at Texas A&M. I represent Peru internationally, and I went to Bowls. I trained at Bowls under Jason Kalanog for 3 years and moved to Auburn, committed to Auburn first initially for the first 2 years. And after my sophomore year, I transferred on over to Texas A&M.
Wonderful.
I'm Claire. I also swim at Texas A&M. I started swimming when I was really little. I started in Louisiana, and then eventually made it over to Florida and started swimming at Bowls, where I met McKenna. I trained under Sergio, and because I went to the high school, and then I committed to Texas A&M, and so I've been here for 4 years, and it's been an incredible experience being here.
So you both just finished your last NCAA meet, right? And
yes.
Yeah. So I know, right? I love that. I love those expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like?
Well, for me, I think, I've been in the NCAA for 5 years now. And I mean, it's an experience. It's a different experience, something that you'll never get anywhere else. But definitely by the end of the 5 years, I was definitely ready to kind of move on to the next chapter and become a pro, and kind of see the doors that were open for me in that aspect. But no, I mean, it's a great experience, and you learn a lot. So it's a good experience, but I'm definitely glad to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, the NC2As this year was a little rough for both of us, but I think just getting involved with the team and being with our team for the last time was just something that we'll never forget, and it was an incredible experience all around.
I think some pretty good stuff happened there, though. Didn't you all have a relay that you were pretty excited about?
We did, yeah. We were on
800.
free relay together, so
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
That was.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, just hearing you both talk, because this is what I do for a living, is I listen intently and I listen for different things. And one of the things I notice is sometimes looking back, you're reflecting on, well, hey, it wasn't exactly the meet that, we envisioned, or, the perfect meet that we would have designed, but some really special things happened there. You were the leaders, you were the seniors. You were you had all that energy, and you were able to swim that relay together. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if we rewind back to the meet, really important, that conference meet that you had prior to, something really special actually happened with the relay there as well. In fact, I think I recall seeing a picture of your coach it might be my favorite coaching picture ever, because that's something I watch as coaches and energy. I think it's very important for coaches to have energy to also contribute to the energy of the athletes. So, if you want to talk about that, that would be great, because that was an amazing. I'll have to post this when I post this podcast. Post a picture. That picture was really
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, the 800 freestyle relay. It was. I mean, that was my first time being on that relay. And I knew the history that we had winning the past 2 years. So I was really, really nervous before. And but the coaches were really good at, keeping me calm, calming me down. The other relay girls, Claire, Sydney, and Katie, they were really good, kind of helping me reflect on all the good practices that I've had throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, when I kind of got up on the block, the adrenaline was flowing. I mean, you couldn't hear yourself think. The crowd, I mean, it was insanely loud, and it was, I think, also at my point, it was 5 teams that were head to head.
Yes.
So something I'll never ever forget. That energy was incredible. So I mean, definitely something that insane. So
yeah, I've been on the 8 free relay all 4 of my years, and so this is my last one, so it was kind of sad, because I was like, this has been such a big part of my life and being a part of that team. So I wanted to make it special, and I know Sydney did too. And then like McKenna said, this is our first time on the relay, and so it was just really fun having her on the relay and getting super excited for it. And we just looked at each other and we just knew something special was going to happen. We were just really excited to swim, and we ended up winning. And I'll never forget, hugging each other after and looking over at our team, and our team was going wild. And I'm like getting goosebumps talking about it, but it was
cool. And a new school record too. So by like a second. So that was, it was really fun. It was a fun race.
So what I like to demonstrate to the audience watching is the power of the mind. And that's something you girls have been learning a lot about. And I think, moving forward, it's going to be important not only to use what you already know, but to increase that, because as you move up to a different level, the problems and the challenges, they change. And so, I always say you've never arrived. We're always a work in progress. And so you always want to be adding things. And so I watched you both describing that relay, and describing what I know to be, you were swimming with your, subconsciously, you weren't thinking about it. You were just going with the energy, and you were also embracing the energy where, you mentioned the word nervous, McKenna, but what we know is that, nervousness and excitement physiologically are the same exact thing. And so as long as we use that nervous energy, that nervous system to work for us, everything will be okay. And I love that you said that. And I love that it resulted in the swim, the time, and the excitement that you have, because it tells other athletes, especially younger athletes or athletes that are struggling with this now, that you can have that feeling. In fact, it can be a good thing. You can embrace it. You can talk to each other about it, say it out loud, because when you said it out loud, it lost power in a couple of ways. You said it out loud, it immediately loses power because it's not stuck in there, where you're worrying about it. And then you had your teammates telling you, what to do with it. And so that's a beautiful thing. And it had a great result. So I'm super excited about that. But I just really wanted you guys to share that story, because just looking on from where I am, just watching it, it was wonderful for me. I had a good feeling. But also, look at the power of the mind. When we brought it up, and everyone will see it when they watch this, you guys got excited and you could feel it again.
Yeah.
So that means we can call up feelings whenever we need to. We just need to focus on what is helping us and not hurting us. And so, if you're having a bad day, I suggest that you go back to those moments and some of your favorite moments in the sport, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So we just talked about one of your favorite moments in your careers, even back when you were younger. I'm sure you had many. And so, as you are making a change, you're both making going to be making changes. It's good to reflect. I think this is a good time of reflection, and to maybe jot down some of those things that you can still recall,
Right.
So that's a good thing to do. So I've worked with both of you a little. You've been as helpful to me as I have to you. I always say that people say, oh, you've worked with this person or you've done this. And I always say, well, honestly, the best part of the work that I do is that I'm being taught all the time. I'm the one learning.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I give back what I can. So I know you've both used the bilateral stimulation, which is really good for thought stopping. And we just did an exercise prior to this podcast, right? So just to show you just another way to stop thoughts. And I described to you how I just worked with an athlete and just had to stop that negative thinking. So can you recall a time when you were thinking negatively and you turned that around during an event?
Ooh, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. So I think for me, and I still struggle with it. It's something that I think that I'll continue to struggle with in the future. But for me, the 200 IM is like my baby. It's something that I love to race it. I love to train it. But I also think it's a race that I can get pretty worked up over, but also something that I can get myself out of. So I'm trying to think of, okay, so can we edit this part out? Cause I'm trying to think of a race.
Yes, or we cannot edit this part out, because this is something that's hard to do when you switch to when you're working with a conscious mind and you're trying so hard to remember something.
Right.
It can be really hard. So a good thing to do right now is let Claire start talking a little bit, and maybe grab a water bottle, a pen or something, do a little bilateral stimulation, clear your mind, and it'll come to you.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll put Claire on the spot. And you know what I love about, I just love this interview. I love me, I'm just very casual, very laid back about things. I don't worry about making mistakes, because I think that's what causes us the biggest problems.
Right.
We're focusing on the wrong thing. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if, this interview doesn't go perfectly, or I can't think of something? That's a perfect example of what I call, and I think I know at least one of you, maybe both, have heard the cognitive distortions audio, and that talks about catastrophizing, and that is this exact thing. That I work really hard not to worry about. If a what if comes up, like what if my mic goes up? There's a solution for everything, and also I'll get another chance, to redeem myself if if I guess it's other people that think I might need to. I never think I need to. I'm okay with it. I just go back and see what I can do better. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Claire.
So
I know you can give an example because I've worked with you. Do you remember that us were racing numbers at one point because you were so focused on times and numbers?
Yeah, that was very helpful. That was NC's my junior year. I think that was last year. And I remember at the beginning of the meet, I had gone a 1:43.01. And I was so frustrated because I hate anything that ends in .01. Like, why not just the 1:42? So I'd gone that, but it was the best time. So I was happy with it, but I knew I wanted to go a little bit faster in my individual, just to break 1:43. I was so obsessed about that. And so I swam my morning race and made it back to a final, and I was very grateful about that. And then, but at finals, I was starting to freak out and just like I was only focusing on the time. And I remember talking to you in between prelims and finals, and like we went through this exercise where you had to make the number really big, and then I think we shrunk it down again, and it was so helpful, and it helped me not focus on that, and did clear my mind about that in between prelims and finals, because I think that's one of the most important parts. That's where you can really get into your head, at least I can, is in between the prelims and finals. And so having that right after prelims, helping me clear my mind for finals, was very helpful and helped me swim fast at night. And I ended up, I think, placing like 6th in the heat, which was incredible, and just getting to race with those girls was just a so fun experience. And so I think that was an example where that helped a lot.
Well, I think moving forward, I think one of the things we'll be working on is you are one of those girls. Both are, and I think sometimes you can get caught up on that. And I always think about this, that the top swimmers that are kind of known for being at the top, and they sort of, they're perceived to own that spot, so to speak. They stay there for a lot of different reasons. Number one, they're very talented. Number two, they have a great mindset. But number three, they have people that they're racing that believe that they should be number one and in that spot. And while that's a very flattering thing to do for someone, and to respect their talent and respect their position, you also have to begin to understand that you can race that person not only well, but eventually catch that person and pass that person.
Right.
Exactly.
But you have to believe it and see it first. And so kind of backing up just a little bit to between prelims and finals. I think you've both listened to the prelims finals audio that I have, right?
Yes, correct.
So how does that help? Is it important to have something to do in between?
Yeah, I think for me, it really helped me because I have issues in between prelims and finals sometimes, falling asleep, and I'll stay awake and I'll just think about the race, times, race, like I'm just like an overthinker. And so listening to that actually helps me fall asleep and stay asleep so that I'm not constantly thinking. Yes. So I think in that aspect, it really helps me just fall asleep and stay asleep.
Good. So you get some good rest, but not, you're not too tired when you get up. And just a way of putting putting aside what happened in the morning, whether it was good or bad, it talks about, let's celebrate what happened this morning, because you're obviously going to finals, or you wouldn't be listening to a prelims final audio, right?
Right.
I feel like you're a winner right there. If you're picking up.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, if you made it to finals, but in your mind, you are overprocessing, overthinking, like you were saying, that you're disappointed about the way the morning went, that's not helpful. And so the main thing, the most important thing is, and of course your coach talks to you afterwards, so you've gained some insight about what you want to do differently. So it allows you just to put that to rest and start over.
Yes.
Right? And so Claire, for you, any feedback on that? Anything different?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing. Just kind of closing out the morning and just starting new, and just taking a nap and waking up as if it was like another day, and going about finals just kind of with that clear mindset, I think is very important. And that audio has been super helpful for me as well.
Isn't it wonderful how malleable the brain is, and how you can do that? You can take that pause and then just show up as if you're a different athlete that night, just a clean slate.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I know you all, I mean, not just yourselves, but I mean, the swim world is so big. It's so wonderful. It's so connected, but a lot of athletes that have carried, and maybe you have in the past, those old ideas, that disappointment, or just some negativity into the nighttime, and that it doesn't work, right? We know what that does. Yeah. So that's something that you'll be able to contribute to other people as well, in the future, just saying, as teammates, because it's really, really, there aren't many people around you that can help other than your coach, yourself, and yourselves and your teammates. So it's great when you have teammates that can encourage you. So I love that you ladies are that way. Oh my goodness. I think about how far back this all goes, to bowls, and you're both friends with my daughter, with Ashley. Oh my goodness, McKenna, like counting for Ashley.
Oh yes. Junior nationals at Texas.
I know, right? That was exciting. And I said, oh, you can never leave. You always have to be together. You always have to count for her. But
exactly.
I mean, you were shaking for people that don't know, you have a counter for distance swimming, and I think that's a very important role. I think it's a very important role as a teammate, how you, and then making that connection and say, hey, what do you need? What do you want me to do?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that don't understand what goes on behind the scenes,
Right. I think for Ashley, she told me, she was like, let's just be silly when you count. So I would put in like 11, and then the next one I would put in 53, or, I would change it up. I would shake it in different ways. And I think, I don't know, I don't know if it worked or not, but maybe it helps keep Ashley's mind more calm, kind of in that silly, not take swimming so seriously. So
what a great point, right?
Yeah.
Because we know when we're having fun, we're better at everything, right?
Exactly.
Because we're relaxed. And so, can you be relaxed and be at a championship meet at the same time? Absolutely, right? And you are absolutely right, McKenna. You learn with each teammate, with each person, how to match their needs. And so you're right, being silly was really important, and it did matter. And I do believe it mattered. And that was a awesome swim.
Right.
And, and so it's also an awesome bonding experience, right? You all just bonded. You've had these years to bond, even further from high school experience to now.
Right.
And it becomes important. So, yeah, that's great. I love it. So, how has your experience been? And I don't mean specifically, but in terms of, you've had a lot of coaching since you were, how old were you each when you started? I know you said before, but
5.
5, yeah. Very little.
Very, very little.
So you've had a lot of influences. You've had coaches that, directly coaches, and then you've had other coaches that influenced you, just by having, more coaches in the program, whatever. How important do you think it is for coaches and parents to learn more about the mental side of the sport in a way that will encourage you? And is there anything you can talk about, not specifically, not if you want to name someone, you don't have to, but maybe an example of where it would come in handy,
I think so. When I came to bowls, Jason was my coach, and I solely believe Jason taught me the love for the sport, the passion that I have for the sport, because he taught me like the sky's the limit. Like, you do what you need to do, come in every day, work hard, do what I ask, and you're gonna see improvements. You're gonna drop time. You have to believe in yourself. And so I think Jason really, and that aspect, he's so good at the mental side. Jason's incredible at that.
Yes.
And I definitely rely on my mom and my dad a lot. My dad, because he's been an athlete through college, and so he really understands that, and he's been through a lot of adversity.
Yes.
And my mom just gets me and gets the type of person that I am, and so she's really good at telling me the things that I need to know and the time. They're just good, and I think that it's not good to hold these things in. Like, if you're freaking out about something, if you're nervous for something, if you don't think that something's going to go right, don't hold it in. Like, you need to go seek help. And so because in high school I would never really talk to my parents about the mental side of swimming, because I just was like, they don't really know, they don't understand. And like, as you grow up, you mature, and you're like, oh my God, no, they know exactly what you're going through.
Yes.
And so I rely so much on my mom and my dad. So
yeah, and I think it's very important for coaches and parents to learn about the mental side, because like you said, your dad was an athlete and kind of understands, but even like maybe that if you're a parent, like, we're athletes, like, they'll still understand, but I also think they still need to be educated on just the whole how it works, and what might be going through your head is like, even if you're nervous and it's like you're freaking out, that's not a bad thing, and I think that's sometimes I think parents and sometimes coaches don't really understand that. So I think sometimes being educated about that is super helpful. And sometimes like coaches can be, like it's just your mental game isn't right, and they're like, you need to fix that. But I think coaches need to be the one there to help fix that and to help the swimmer walk through it, because they're the ones that are there at the meets and always there at them. You can always count on your coach being there at the meets. And so if they know how to help your mental game, then I think that would be huge for you, because you'll always have that there and can rely on that. And so I also think it's something you need to be really proactive about, because like, even if you are having great mental game at the moment, you still need to work on it, because there's going to be times where it's not that great, where you need to flip it around. And if you start practicing then it's not going to work as well as if you've been practicing the whole time, and then you can switch around your negative mindset when you're at that place.
Yeah, those are all good points. I think being able to flip that switch is important, because if you have a long meet, you have sometimes 5 days. Was it 5 days for NCs?
Yeah.
Well, SECs is 5 days and NCs is 4.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was one that was longer. It's been getting longer, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if you allowed, initially, the first day or the first event to influence the rest of the meet, it could be a very, very long, disappointing meet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
it's just very important. And also, I think in terms of mental strength and mental toughness, being able to maintain that mindset through that long time period, and not do it in a difficult way. And that's what I've been trying to do, because I know there's a lot out there. There are resources, but what I know about student athletes is that they don't have time. And so you're not going to pick up a 300-page book and read it, even if it's going to help you. There isn't a window for that. And that's why when I wrote my guide, it looks like, it could be made for, age group, but I've got athletes through the pros using it because it's easy. It's in big print. So when you look at it, you think, I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think psychologically that's helpful, but you need things that are portable. You need things that are easy. And so I'm trying, this is always a work in progress, but I think we're coming a long way. So I'm looking forward to you all helping me more, and as well as, a few other athletes, just in terms of putting together these programs. I've got an interview coming up soon with John Sokovich, and we're focused on helping parents. And this is very important. I've spent all these years, learning about what do I say and what's helpful, because I know that as parents and coaches, we become the great hypnotist. We're influencers. You're standing there and you're suggestible. You're ready for something to be put in there, and it needs to be something that helps and doesn't hurt. And I have seen it, and there's no reason to get specific, although at some point I will in my own endeavors. I want to talk about things that I've seen that haven't gone well. I want to talk about things that, I think it's very important that those things are avoided, because I have worked with the athletes that have been hurt by the very people who should be helping them.
Right.
And so, but I'm not saying that was ever intentional. I'm just saying it's a style, and there's a better way. You mentioned Jason. I think the world of Jason. I have many, many coaches that I admire, and I've learned from them. They've given me their time, and I'm giving them my time, and not just in the sport of swimming. But I'm so excited about those coaches that are stepping up, and they're telling their athletes, this is part of the triangle, and it's not an option. And I'm not saying this in a way that's going to hurt you. It's going to help you, and you're not leaving things to chance. I think leaving things to chance on the mental side, I just think about how much I wish this had been happening way, a long time ago. There were sports psychologies where you just kind of vented, but Claire, you were saying, they'll say, and I hear this all the time, an athlete will contact and say, my coach says I'm a head case. Well, that is a very bad feeling, because if that's what you're left with, yes, it's true. It might be mental, and it's okay to say, hey, let's toughen you up a little bit in terms of techniques. Let's give you more techniques so that you can feel stronger and better and more prepared. Mental toughness is really preparedness. And I think that, but you can't just say you've got a problem. You need to, the coaches and, and even parents you send, they can send them, to somebody like me, but we've got to tell you how.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
And it's a work in progress, just like you guys are still evolving. So what's your next step?
The Olympics for me and for you, but yeah, definitely. I'm graduating here in May or August, still pending. And after that, I will just be training till 2020 and try to qualify for the Olympics. And I'll kind of be doing some career goals for mine. I want to study the MCAT and apply to medical school. So that's kind of my plan. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I have another year of school, so I'll graduate May 2020. And so I'll still be here and doing school and training. I'll train through next summer. And after that, I'm not sure. But that's what I'm looking at.
It's still pending.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a fabulous thing to be. I think, just having to know what the end goal is it's overrated and it's unnecessary. You have to have, some steps, to your, goals, and just say, and if the direction changes, it's perfectly fine, isn't it?
Right. Exactly.
So McKenna, you just finished, was it Canadian trials you went to?
I did, yes.
Okay. And so you accomplished something that you liked?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. It was my third taper, and I did well at SECs, didn't do well at NCs. So I was like, it could be a toss up. It could be really good or kind of bad or kind of like I didn't know. So it went well. It went my favor. So that was nice. I got two best times. And yeah, I was happy with the results for what I had, and moving forward, I'm really motivated to get back to the water and, improve even more.
Great. And what about you, Claire? Do you have any meets coming up?
No. Well, after NCs, I took a little bit of time off, and then I'm just kind of getting back into the water and into practices full time again. My next big meet will be the World University Games, which are early July. So
you do have a meet coming up.
I mean, not within 2 weeks,
right.
But yeah, like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, so I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things for that. Just focusing on finishing up the school year as well, because that's kind of getting crazy. But yeah, so just.
Yeah, and that does get crazy, right? I mean, it's a lot. I think a lot of people, they just see results and they don't see all the grind, and they don't see all of the behind the scenes other things, that you have to do. And you guys are on a pretty tight timeline most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You deserve a break, but you both have very, very special things coming up, and it's exciting, and I look forward to it for you. And I'll certainly be following. So I hope you have time to squeeze me in so that we can. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, it's always great when you try out these techniques and you guys are willing to talk about whether they worked or they didn't work, because it's going to be different for everyone.
Right.
But most importantly, I'm so excited about what you can contribute to the younger athletes, and so excited about you being a part of that, and also this bigger project that I think will be very exciting for you not only to be a part of, but it's going to be something that you leave behind that's pretty big and important. And and I'm not sure I did anything at your age quite like that, but I am excited that you both are. I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm excited to help in any way that I can. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So this is maybe my last question, but maybe it's just asking you to say whatever you want. In terms of working with younger swimmers, is there any one thing that you would like to say to them?
Yeah, I think definitely the sport of swimming, and I'm sure any other sport, you're going to have a lot of ups and you're going to have a lot of downs. And sometimes it's going to be more downs than ups, but I think definitely just sticking on the journey and enjoying it. That's what my dad says, is just enjoy it, because the destination you're going to be so disappointed if you get to the destination if you didn't enjoy that. And so, sounds cliche, but definitely just have to enjoy yourself. So.
And I think one thing that's really important is finding a team where you really fit in. You can really rely on, because even if the meet isn't going the way you can just absorb yourself back into the team and that energy, and that is super helpful. It ends up just helping your mindset, helping your swimming, but also helping the team as a whole. And so I think that's one thing that's really important. And growing up, we've both been a part of many different teams, but each one just getting absorbed into it and getting excited about being a part of is, I think, really important.
You're both very inspiring. I love what you both just said, and I'm excited about getting you live. I'm hoping for Las Vegas this summer, and then in other team talks when you have the time, because again, I just think you're both so important. You have so much to offer. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for helping us. I mean, you helped us, so
Well, I just think we have a wonderful community, but also we have great relationships. And that, in the end of the day, is, if we just teased one thing out, the relationships that we all have, that really is gold, isn't it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, hey, I had a thought though, McKenna, maybe I can get your dad and your mom and dad on for a podcast because they're both super athletes, right?
Oh, they would actually love that. Yeah, that would feed their ego.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, they'll be watching this, so I'll be bugging them about it, and I think that would be super because they really are delightful, and Claire, your parents as well, and the beauty of having been a swim parent is that
Right.
I just have such great friends.
Exactly.
Yep, it's important. Sometimes I feel lonely because I'm doing things, kind of, in just a small office space or by myself here, recording things. And so it's very, very important to have those relationships. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We're going to talk for a minute. I'm going to stop the recording and you can just say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
For listening.
There you go.